Hi, Ray Cassidy, Consulting Cumbria here, and just a quick little tutorial on how to get hold of SEOQuake, my tool of choice for having a quick look at how well optimized my website is, or indeed a competitor's website is. So this is for Chrome. So in a relatively up-to-date version of Chrome, you go over here to the control menu, click that open and whiz down to Tools, and out comes the flyer, and you go to Extensions. Down the bottom of there is the little tag for getting more extensions. Okie dokie, so there's the web store. Now I'm just going to search, not for that particular one, we're just going to search generally for SEO plugins, and you can see the variety that are available. Okay, SERP Workbench, I've used that one, I've used this one, this is the one I tend to keep coming back to. Okay, and there's one favourite that's missing. So SEOQuake, it is as simple as clicking on Add to Chrome. This little dialog comes up, and beware, it can access your data on all the websites you visit, and it does have access to your tabs and browsing activity. But so far we've not had any visits from the knock on the door in the night squad, or anything unpleasant as a result of using this. It does sometimes clash with other extensions in the browsers that I use. So it's a relatively tiny piece of software, I think. So very quickly you get this confirmation flag. So SEOQuake has been added to Chrome. Use this extension by clicking on the icon. So there's the little icon, the classic green and red jobby. Right, so there you go. Now right click on the icon to open up this menu, click on the options and general. So yes, I want it enabled. Parameter catching, I'll leave it switched on for the moment. Now this highlights any no-follow links that you find on a web page that you're studying, so it can lead to unsightly line throughs, the line through text on the strike through text on the link. Show WhoRush date info. Now WhoRush is part of SEMrush's toolkit for pay-per-click advertising in particular. So we'll leave that. The parameters, I want Google PageRank. I want to see how many pages are indexed. I want to see how many links Google has been willing to own up to your website having to it. Cache data I don't tend to use. Yahoo index at the moment I don't really bother with that, it's just too much clutter otherwise. SEM is a slightly more forgiving algorithm, and it shows a couple more links generally speaking. Google's very cagey about owning up to a website having backlinks into it. So this is to the page, SEMrush links, SEMrush link domain, that is links coming into the domain. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of the link domain too, but I don't really understand it yet myself because I've hardly used it. Is it indexed in Bing? DMOZ directory, this is still a fairly significant online directory, so I tend to like to have that data just to see if it's there. Alexa, with some searches this can be useful. Web archive age, it basically tells you how old the website is, and that is a useful factor. Delicious. Now I like to see how many of these social bookmarking or social posts are available, so I want to see how many tweets it can find that are indexed, Facebook likes and +1s. Who is data? Not really, I don't tend to look at that. If I want to know the who is data, i.e. getting some info about the identity of the owner of the website, then I tend to go in and use a different tool for that can dig a bit deeper. Page source. No, I don't really want the source code showing straight away. I tend not to use the rank from SEMrush. That page rank is enough for the sort of relatively superficial evaluation. Yandex is, you know, mainly sort of Russia, I think, and Baidu is sort of a Chinese search engine, I think. Compete rank, that's a useful one to have in. Now, this can also show the data for all of the websites that come up in the search results. It does slow down the page, and it can get butt ugly, and the little toolbar displays. I'll leave it on for the moment and you'll see what I mean. Get Google parameters. That means, you know, suss out all these results as soon as the results page loads. I don't want the Yahoo stuff. I think just for the moment, just the Google stuff is enough to deal with. It's the main search engine. It's going to be the main driver for any traffic to your website in almost all cases. The SEO bar, I do want it to fire up on when a page loads. I want it horizontal, and I want it at the top so I can see it straight away when I'm using it. So I've set all those parameters the way I like them. I'm going to save that, and without further ado, we'll close that page, that tab down now. We'll close, actually I'll leave it open because I'll go back to that shortly. Website, so let's say we're looking for a catering contractor in, let's try Cumbria. Okay, there we go. Now you'll notice the wheel is still spinning, so the various bits of software are still chugging around getting hold of data. I'll pause now until it's finished. Okay, we're starting to get some action now. You'll see here underneath this first result, the add-on has thrown in this little information bar, and so it instantly shows us that for this, the website in this result, there's a page rank of 2. It's got 7.95 million pages indexed. It's owning up, Google's owning up to this having 3 backlinks in. If you click on that number, you can find out more about it. SEMrush isn't really finding any links to this particular page, but here it's saying that the domain's got 22,000 odd links coming in. Bing has indexed 351,000 pages of that website. Okay, there's Demos. It says it's got 1 entry. The Alexa rank, quite a high scoring website, that, 'cause it's only ranked at 4,305 level. This website has got Age, so it's 1999. Age is a very good thing to have if you've got an old website domain or domain name that you've taken over. If it was used for a long time and it had built up some page rank, then that can be quite useful. And look at this, it's showing that this particular website in this result has got something like 2,731 tweets that Google's managed to index. Nothing showing up in Facebook pages and nothing showing up in Google+. And you click on there, you can get the source code. Now, the other pretty marvellous thing that you can do is, and it's no good on here because this is just a Google results page, I'm just going to go around and find one of the there's an actual catering website in the local 7-pack, and here you see what I mean about it making the results page a bit butt ugly and unreadable. These bars don't respect some of the layout of the page, so they can be intrusive and get in the way. But here we go, we'll go over to this company. I've not looked at these guys before. So there we go, here's an actual website. The tool can understand that this is the website rather than a bunch of search results, so now it's already picked up the info for this particular page of this particular website. It's given it a page rank of 1, which means, you know, Google thinks it's reasonably okay. It reckons this site's got about 900 pages indexed. It's not owning up to it having any links in the Google index, and even SEM Rush hasn't really picked up any links. It's only sort of owning up to 5 links into the domain from SEO Quake, SEM Rush, their database. Bing's got a lower number of pages indexed. That's quite typical. It's one of the reasons why Google is still such a workhorse for search. The DMOZ directory, it doesn't appear to have a listing here. This is sort of, you know, about, this is in with all the sites that are at the 7.3 million mark of the pecking order. This is another old site as well, 2007. 26 tweets. Nothing much showing up for social media. You can get the source code of the page here, so we'll actually see what that looks like. And all it is, it just shows the actual code that is building that page, and this is useful for hunting out. You know, you can suss out what platform the page is built on. So we can see a few JavaScript bits and bobs there. This look sort of very quick. Oh, excuse me. Title tag, looking possibly a bit on the long side. A list of keywords that the website says it is targeting. A meta description, and down here you've got various other little bits of technical gobbledygook that appear in the head of the page before the body of the page starts to form. This is all about setting up the thing on your screen before the information starts getting fired on that you can see. So that's the source code. I'm not going to go into that in any more detail than that. You can find out here. It's not even worth bothering to look because Compete hasn't even noticed this one. Compete's a massive database of the sort of competitiveness, if you want, of different websites. This density button, it picks up on all the terms that Google sort of recognizes as keywords. Now, what was this? This was a catering website. Catering essentials. Okay, so it'd be all sort of catering terms you'd expect. Catering containers. Okay, but this is a pretty random, you know, anything that might be a keyword it picks up on, and you can see how relevant your page content might actually be for the search or for the pay-per-click advertising keyword that you've chosen to target for that page. So we'll get rid of that, we'll go back to the page, and then this is the really useful thing. So the diagnosis, and what this diagnosis does, it looks at the on-page factors that will affect your ability to rank for a particular keyword. So here it first of all looks at the URL of the page. This is the home page of the website. Catering disposal, so it's obviously got a bit of keyword equity, but nice thing is the URL is quite short. Now the title tag is the most important SEO factor on the page in effect. So catering essentials, catering disposal, but it's got a red cross even though he's got a title, and the reason for that is there's about 130 characters being used, whereas the title tag really just needs about 70. Then we go down to the meta description, so there's an improvement that you can make straight away in targeting your title tag. Meta description is only 85 characters long, and yet here you've got 160 characters to play with and set this up as a sales pitch. So even though this is giving it the green light, it actually isn't a very effective description tag. Now, the description tag does not affect your actual ranking directly. This shows up as the snippet in the search usually. So we'll go back to the search results and see if we can find, come on, hurry up page. I'll just pull. There you go, we're back on again. It's been about 30 seconds since I paused, and that's how much these having this working on the results page can slow the page down. Now actually we won't get the snippet because we pinched it from the local listings, but if you go down here and have a look at I don't think they appear in the organics. No, they're not in the organic listings, but generally speaking that description tag is this snippet that shows up here, and although it doesn't directly affect your SEO value, what it does do, it's the sales pitch. This is the bit where you try and give the visitor a reason to come and visit your page. Oi, come and see me, I've got the best blooming answer to your problem or your need, much better than those things just above me. So it's a sales pitch. It should contain the target keyword, and you should use the full 160 characters if you can. Now the other meta tag that has been important in the past is the keywords tag. There are still some search engines that use it, but currently Google ignores it completely unless you've got more than 4 or 5 or 6 keywords, and so they're at the they're using this tag well, but in actual fact it doesn't help you rank. It's completely ignored, and that is because it was so badly spammed in the past before Google really got to grips with understanding what people regarded as quality. Before that it was very, very heavily spammed and led to some very, very poor results on the web. So it gets a green light because it sort of sits in and complies with their guidelines. Now here, headings. Headings are important for dividing up your page content and saying which section is about which sort of topic or keyword, and it's a good way of helping your reader and Google understand what your site is about. Okay, I'm not entirely sure they've made good choices, and in any case 8 H1s is excessive for one page. There should really, and truthfully, unless there's a really good reason, there should only really be 1 H1 on any page, 1 or 2 H2s, and then as the hierarchy, as you descend the hierarchy, you can afford to have a few more, and you can manipulate the coding of the formatting to make those headings look exactly the way you want to, which sounds very easy but can be fiddly. Right, 24 images on the page, and these are components that make up the page as well. So if we go back to that website, catering disposables, these little graphic items and these little obvious pictures and these little boxes and probably that heading are all images that have a very useful search engine optimization attribute of alt text. And alt attributes or alt text are where you can tell Google what the picture is like because it can't see your picture the way you do, but this it is open to spamming, and if you spam the keywords then it'll tend to depress your listing. But if you use the keywords sensibly within the alt text, it can help Google to classify the image correctly, and that gives you a chance of showing up in image searches as well as the ordinary general organic search. It tells you whether you've got enough info on the page compared with the code that makes the page. And here we're a little bit on the low side. It's okay for a home page, but you could probably look at ways of including more information on the page. Iframes and Flash tend to just knacker up any SEO potential you've got, particularly Flash. Google can't read it. A robot's text file, this tells you whether you've got one or not, and robots text tells the search engine spiders, you know, what they ought to index and what they should leave alone and just leave hidden, and they sometimes obey your instructions, they sometimes don't. A sitemap on the website is great for telling Google exactly what there is on your website, because sometimes your navigation won't lead naturally through to every page, or it may be deeply buried and Google won't follow it all the way down. This can make a difference if if all the other attributes up here are sorted and compliant and optimized as best you can. Then you can tell Google what language it should be reading this page in. So for most of the audience for this video, you should be choosing a meta language tag that says English GB, so that'd be an EN-GB. The type of document, we're getting down into the less important items, the encoding. These are all sort of, you know, technical little things, but this is really important. Again, although it won't directly affect your SEO scores, what it does do, this Google Analytics tells you what's happening on your website. So if you haven't got Google Analytics or some other alternative installed, then you can't really make any judgments on what the work you do is achieving. And if you've got everything else sorted out, these micro formats, these structured data, can help again to more finely tune your classification and help Google to show you in the most important keywords. So it's a rather long-winded description, but basically what this does allow you to do, this SEO Quake diagnostic allows you to skim down through the pages that you look at and see what attributes are being done well, but you have to you have to read this with a little bit of interpretation, and which attributes are being done less well, and it gives you clues as to what you can do to outfox a competitor or outdo a competitor. And this, as I say, is purely the on-page attributes. What is it on that website page that is being done well for an SEO point of view, and what is not being done so well? Okay, so I hope you find that useful. I do apologise that I've kind of given you the long explanation, but it's probably important at this stage, and when I compare with the other search engine optimization tools that will be in other videos, they will be much shorter, because I will not spend as long explaining all the separate attributes that are measured. Okay, thanks for listening, and again, I hope you find this useful.